He did already. So before we go any further, each of you are aware that you've been invited to celebrate in the love of our happy couple. But let's face it, you've all jumped to the end of this particular chapter to see how it ends, of course, with the marriage of Nikki and Jason. But what about all of the fun and romance on those pages that led us to this happy occasion? I mean, this isn't just any ordinary tale, folks. It is Jason and Nikki's love story. And the guests all went, aww. Their story begins in 2008. Your beautiful bride, Nikki, had been working as a bartender at Buffalo Wild Wings in Liberty for about 2 years when she was suddenly forced to work with a rookie new hire, your handsome groom, Jason.
And I did not like him.
No, we didn't like each other.
It wasn't just that Nikki disliked Jason.
He didn't really know what he was doing. So he's trying to figure everything out. So I'm waiting on him and he's moving slow. So I'm like, you suck.
Fortunately for all of us this evening, after a couple of months,
I think we kind of just started talking and kind of just became best friends.
Yeah.
He figured out how to do his job and I didn't hate him anymore. And
for the next 7.5 years, Nikki and Jason enjoyed a very platonic relationship as the best of friends. They partied together with mutual friends and actually spent quite a bit of their off hours together as well. But on New Year's Eve 2016, their relationship took a very happy turn. Nikki told Jason she wanted to go out and have some fun. She thought, y'all think you know where this is going, don't you? She thought his friends would be going with them. But to Nikki's surprise,
there was no friends, there was no party. It was just me and him. And he was more or less kind of setting me up on a date.
Yeah, I set her up.
Jason had actually been hiding his feelings for Nikki for some time, and he was setting her up on this date because...
Yeah, I've always liked her, but I mean, even her friends knew that.
Funny thing, though, Jason wasn't the only one hiding his feelings or a plan. Nikki had a little secret of her own.
So my plan was to get drunk on New Year's, and then I was going to kiss him. And then if he didn't like it, I could just blame it on the alcohol. That was my plan.
But wait, there's more. Now, because it was New Year's Eve, you might think that Nikki would at least hold out for the traditional midnight kiss so she could include that in her excuse if things didn't go as planned, but...
I didn't make it till midnight, yeah.
It was close.
We were dancing,
Yeah,
and then I just remember I was like, screw it, and went for it.
Yeah.
And that kiss was good.
Heck, once we did kiss, then we just danced and kissed the rest of the time, and yeah.
And the guests all said, yay! The events of that entire evening confirmed to both Nikki and Jason what everyone else close to them had known for a very, very long time.
All of her friends knew that we should be together. Or, when are you going to be together? And
Oh yeah,
she just
people
took
would
her a
tell me
little bit.
all the time. We'd be out, and people were like, why aren't you with him? What are you doing?
Right after New Year's, they had a conversation about their new and improved relationship and determined that they were committed to seeing where it would take them. And it took them there quickly. Just a couple of months into January 2017, they were out with friends when Nikki got Jason to confess that he had actually liked her for a very, very long time, which led her to conclude...
So you don't even like me. I was like, you're in love with me. And his face just turns bright red. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, you're in love with me. I was like, you love me.
As fate would have it, Nikki felt the same way about Jason. Of course, things moved rapidly. They had already spent a ton of time together at work and off the clock.
We already knew each other, everything about each other. We didn't really date.
Everything.
I mean, when we got together, it was like, felt like we'd already been together for years.
By summer, just 6 months from that New Year's Eve celebration, their first kiss and confessing their love for one another, they were already talking about marriage. Actually, there was little talk because they already knew they wanted to enjoy a life together.
We knew that we were going to marry each other, and
I just knew that's who I wanted to spend my life with.
By November, Jason had quietly made one of the most important purchases of his life, a stunningly beautiful engagement ring. Go ahead, show off your bling. There you go. Nikki didn't have a clue.
I didn't even know he had been ring shopping, bought a ring. He's the romantic one. He's like the sappy, love story, cute one. It's kind of what I expected would be New Year's, kiss anniversary, ring, blah, blah, blah.
Jason didn't really have a clue either as to how or when he might propose, but as the romantic one, he knew it had to be better than
Blah, blah, blah.
On Sunday morning, November 26, 2017, Jason told Nikki that he'd like to take her out to dinner that evening to Kona Grill on the Plaza, which just happened to be the same restaurant where they had dined 11 months earlier on New Year's Eve before going partying. Now, Jason also told her that his best man, Andrew, and his wife, Debbie, would also be joining them. And Nikki's bridesmaid, Kiana, sent her a text to say that she and her mom are also going to the plaza that evening to look at the holiday lights. Of course, Nikki invited both of them to meet up with their foursome as well. As far as Nikki was concerned, it was just a normal evening out with friends. And after dinner, Nikki told Jason she'd like to take a walk around the plaza to look at the Christmas lights.
We're walking around and I see the Cinderella carriage. I'm like, oh, I was like, I've never done the carriage ride through the plaza. I was like, I've always wanted to, but never done it. And he's like, oh, well, I'll go see, he's like, I think you have to make an appointment for it, but maybe they have something open. I'll check it out.
What Nikki didn't know was that Jason had already made a reservation and he was just checking in with them to let them know that they had arrived. He had devised the perfect proposal, so he thought. He had asked the carriage folks not to call his name because he wanted to surprise Nikki with the proposal first. And when he returned to Nikki, he told her that the carriage rides were all booked up and they'd have to make reservations for another time. Unfortunately, the carriage folks were not very good listeners. And as soon as Jason said that...
And so as he's kind of talking to me, all of a sudden out of the corner, I hear somebody go, Sherman party. And I was like, really confused because I'm like, you just said that they didn't have anything open. So I kind of look around and she's like, Sherman party. So then when I turn around to look at him, he's gone because he's down on his knee at this point.
Pulled the ring out of my coat pocket and showed it to her, and you're the love of my life. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Something like maybe wouldn't want it any other way. Then will you marry me?
Totally caught me off guard. No idea. First words out of my mouth were, shut the fuck up.
Another reason why I love her.
So I'm like, get up, yes, of course.
And then took her on the carriage ride.
A few short weeks ago, on May 22nd in Clearwater Beach, Florida, Jason and Nikki exchanged their wedding vows on a beautiful sandy beach in the witness of a few family members and friends. There was, however, one very important person who was unable to make that trip. So this evening, Nikki would like to make it up to him and ask her dad, Jack, to please walk her down the aisle for another informal wedding ceremony for all of you. hear it for Jack, please. Thank you. You may all be seated. So it is without a doubt an honor to be asked to officiate your vow renewal. But typically, repeating wedding vows is something that is done years, not days, after a couple is married. So this evening, we've asked all of your family and friends to contribute to the story of how your lives will be 25 years from now, when you may well choose to invite them all back to witness your 25th wedding anniversary and vow renewal celebration. So according to them, here's how your lives will be in the year 2044. Go ahead and turn around and face your guest. President, do you want the bottle? 25 years? Okay. So, President Taylor Swift sits in the White House. Taylor Swift is president. Who knew? Climate change is mostly a thing of the past. 100% of cars now use people slapping bodies together as power. And scientists have now discovered that cows belch methane much less on a tube steak diet, which would be something of cannibalism, I think, but I'm not real sure. You lovebirds have done very well for yourselves. Jason took a job as a porta potty attendant, and Nikki excels as queen of everything. You now commute to and from work in your self-driving bird scooter. Yeah. Soon after getting married, you both got matching tattoos of Betty Boop. And for millennials, just Google it. You'll find it. Hey, as a matter of fact, you have an appointment next week to add to the design as a token of your love and happiness after a quarter century of marriage. You enjoy living in your gorgeous mansion in the great state of Indiana and have a summer home in a treehouse. Go, okay. Plus, you're now empty nesters as your 3 grown children, Chloe, Kylie, and Kim, hey, you insisted on naming them after the Kardashians. I'm sorry. But they've all moved away to start families of their own and maybe their own TV reality program. I don't know. You love your pets and have a dog named Ozzy and an iguana named the Sharter. I have a feeling that came from that table over there. Even though sex has been replaced with cleaning the toilet, your lives are happy and peaceful, full of family, friends, and love. You spend your free time jumping hurdles and streaking. Yeah. Are you ready for this? You have both given up drinking alcohol. So when you want to relax, you make kumquat smoothies and watch your favorite Netflix show, The Slutty Boobs. I have a feeling that came from that table over there. Every few years or so, you like to look through the photos and memories from your wedding day and reflect on the words of wisdom bestowed upon you. Never take a sip of your beer at a streetlight. Again, from over there. The one constant, though. I have a feeling those two tables were deeply involved. Oh, the one constant, though, even after 25 years of marriage, is that you love each other more today than on the day you married on May 22nd, 2019, and when you both first said, I do. I'm going to ask you to turn towards each other and hold each other's hands for me for a moment. Okay. Just turn towards each other. Each other. So rather than asking you to formally repeat your vows from what I've learned about the two of you, I think you'll agree that the greatest way to reaffirm your love for one another at this moment is to follow the advice from Nikki's favorite movie way back in 1989.
Wins. Words.
Jason, yes, you want her. Look at her, you know you do, buddy. Possible she wants you too. And there's only one way to ask her. It doesn't take a single word. What are you waiting for, Jason? Go ahead. Kiss that girl. Once again, I present to you Mr. and Mrs. Jason and Nikki Sherman.
Sha-la-la-la-la-la, float along and listen to the song say kiss the girl. Sha-la-la-la-la, the music play, what the music say, you gotta kiss the girl. You got to kiss the girl.